Aurelia 44 had sent $10, referring to MTG episode on Surgeon General's claims on Lyme disease. He's correct, there's a lot of us out here suffering. The medical industry isn't allowed to treat us beyond initial infection. We pay cash to Lyme doctors like we're animals. Look up Operation Paperclip also with the Nazis and Lyme.
It's just painful. I just can't. You want to take the medical stuff, take it somewhere else.
Savage sent $10. If doctors say ivermectin and fasting work, the healthcare system loses millions. They disavow these and put you on chemo for thousands of dollars instead to make money. Doctors supported the vax lol. They shill for the system. It's very sus how you're acting like the healthcare industry isn't corrupt.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm being paid by big cancer or whatever. If it's just, it's obvious. If people were being cured by ivermectin, I don't believe that all the doctors are in on a conspiracy, because in order for that to be true, every cancer doctor that has ever studied this would have to be lying. Do you think that every cancer doctor is evil? Like every doctor is evil?
Every single one.
Every scientist, every doctor that has an interest in curing cancer, they're just like, well, we need to make more money. This is like a very low IQ paradigm. I see idiots, they cannot fathom that there is anything going on in the world other than that people want to make money. Yeah. Oh, well, you just want to profit. Like, they can't fathom that there's anything more
Why can't I interact with the video
than that.
Like, there's a lot of people that are involved in government work and research, people who are doctors, who actually are there because they have a huge passion for the subject and they have a huge interest in the subject. It's not this idea that every single person goes into it because they're evil and want to make money, or that all of them go into it like with earnest intentions, or most of them, and then become evil to want to make money. It's like, damn, what does that say about your view of humanity?
That there's anything more to the world order than that, than like the profit motive, than like, you're trying to scam me. And it's just a very stupid heuristic. I just don't know what else to tell you. It's a very stupid heuristic. Like when people say, oh, we're fighting in the Middle East because if the gun manufacturers want to make more money. It's like there's other considerations in the world than like they already can make a lot of money, you know? Yeah, I don't think every doctor is like killing you deliberately because they're like,
Is Fuentes's positions like kind of sort of moderating on some of these things on at least the conspiratorial part, or is this like a meme section of his show that's getting quoted a lot? I never watched like full episodes of his shit, so.
I need to make more money or something. If they could cure cancer, that would make money. If they could cure cancer, that would make money. They could charge what they want for it.
Yeah.
You don't think there's free market competition? You don't think that that the drug maker that could cure cancer?
But the problem is, I pointed this out before. I don't remember what my little analogy was for it. But the problem is that these are not real arguments that people believe. These are substitution arguments that are proxying some other belief, right? And you can demonstrate this so easily by looking at vaccines, right? Oh, you're telling me that Big Pharma makes vaccines so that they can scam you and make money? Isn't there more money in treating diseases than there are in... I thought you always said that. There's more money in treating them than curing them, right? Isn't there more money in treating them than preventing them? Why would anybody give you a vaccine for measles when they could treat the measles? Wouldn't that be way more money? Or when they look at like, oh, vaccines only exist because they're trying to make money out of you. But for the MMR vaccine, you want to do the MMR as 3 separate shots. Wouldn't doing them as 3 separate shots, wouldn't they make more money doing that than combining them all into one? Why would they combine them all into one if they could charge you for 3? But as soon as you bring any of this up, they'll just hop to another argument because they don't actually... It's the best proof that somebody doesn't support their argument with rationality is when you attack the underlying rationality and they concede on points, but it doesn't actually adjust the percentage faith they have, confidence in the upper level belief at all. You know, like that's your evidence of that. Like if somebody's like, I think this guy would be a really good babysitter for our company. Well, why do you think that? He worked in public schools for 15 years. He has 7 children who are all adorable and they love him and they seem like sweet kids. And he's a frequent member at our church. And it's like, oh, we looked into his background. He wasn't actually at school for 15 years teaching. He was actually a drug dealer. It's like, oh, he actually doesn't have 7 kids. Well, he does, but he's got 7 kids, but they're all with different moms and he doesn't know any of them. And 3 of them are in jail. Oh, so what are we thinking about him? I don't know. I still think he's like a really good pick. I feel about the same. It's like, okay, then why did you bring up any of the other, what was the point of the other argument? Because clearly that didn't influence your percentage confidence in him at the end of the day. When people's confidence in the assertions they make don't change when other evidence has been knocked down, that's a huge indicator too that something else is happening. These arguments they're not real arguments that the person is using that they think are convincing. They're arguments that the person is using that they want you to be convinced by. They're thinking, okay, well they might not be thinking this consciously, but they're like, this sounds good to other people, so these are the arguments I'm going to use to justify this belief that I have. But for them, that's not actually what's working under the hood.
Would have some vested interest. I mean, which is it? Are the pharmaceutical companies powerful, or is it some other institution? Why would they not come in and undercut and cure cancer. Would they not make a killing off of that?
Yeah.
Whoa, but
Like, why is Ozempic a drug now that's making people less fat? Isn't there way more money in obesity and heart disease and all of that? Why would Ozempic even exist? Why does TRT come out? Why would you put somebody on TRT when you could treat them their whole life for depression or fat or whatever other things are endemic of having low testosterone? Like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, why would any of these things ever come out?
They need you to stay sick so you don't realize that food is medicine. Okay.
Oh, but then you can slap on another bullshit cope device that Jank uses all the time, and you call that's the pressure release valve, because if they didn't do the pressure release valve, then we'd all go crazy. So now they have like the perfect dual conspiratorial hypothesis where they can explain every single action, and the actions that are inexplicable are equally explained by the other explainer, which is the pressure release valve. So you've got the conspiratorial people that do everything evil and horrible, but then if there's not an evil or horrible thing, it's because of the pressure release valve in order to make us more, I guess, like palatable, or make the evil people more palatable. So it's unfalsifiable, right? And they don't have any evidence for any of this, by the way. There's never been like a big pharma exec who's been like, yeah, we have this chemo and it's the fuck them up chemo, and we only do this chemo to make them fucking sick and fuck them up, and like, or like there was huge research that showed that they cured this disease, but then they killed the scientists or they buried the research. It's like that has never come out, but
that's just idiotic.
Well, I don't know if I'd say never. I'm sure there's been at least some examples of malfeasance, but
that's just so idiotic. I don't even think it's worth entertaining.
Borrelia 44 had sent $10, referring to MTG episode on Surgeon General's claims on Lyme disease. He's correct, there's a lot of us out here suffering. The medical industry isn't allowed to treat us beyond initial infection. We pay cash to Lyme doctors like we're animals. Look up Operation Paperclip also with the Nazis and Lyme.
Lyme disease? They all got that one.
It's just painful. I just can't. You want to take the medical stuff, take it somewhere else.
Ozempic was not made for fatties, but diabetics, no? Yeah, but then they discovered that it worked for people who are overweight as well, right? And then it got off-label, I think, use for that, and then they did more research there, and now they're using it to treat that.
Care Zero S sent $100.
Can you explain the Lyme disease memes? Lyme disease is a real thing. Ticks bite you get Lyme disease. There's a collection of diseases, some real, some not real, that people use when they just want to complain about shit. Chronic Lyme disease is like some vague collection of symptoms that kind of resembles chronic fatigue syndrome. And it's a set of things that also resembles like Gulf War syndrome. It's this idea of like, I have some collection of things that are ailing me that make me feel fatigued or tired, and I can't do anything about it. And I have like general pain, and none of it shows up on a test anywhere. None of it is treatable by anything. And there's no scientific evidence that it even exists. Chronic fatigue syndrome, there is evidence that this can happen after viral infections or whatever, but there's like these broad syndromes, and nobody's ever validated that like Lyme disease can lead to some kind of like chronic like condition that can never be cured or treated or whatever. Yeah, but that's one of the big ones is chronic Lyme disease that people bring up. That's like a pseudo-y kind of thing. Yeah, true. Oh, true. Destiny, some guy told me he had chronic Lyme at the bar the other day, and I correctly predicted his opinions on the gold standard and lab leak. Your constellation of beliefs thing is so real. True. Yeah, somebody tells you they're chronic Lyme disease, like 95% of the time, you can get their opinion on you've already like predicted, you can generate their opinion on almost anything. Yeah. Is chronic Lyme, CFS, IBS, whatever else, anything you've done a deep dive research on? Not deep dive, no. Or do you have super high confidence on? I've got decently high confidence that chronic Lyme is bullshit. IBS and CFS are just syndromes, so people can lie about having them, but there seems to broadly be belief that like chronic fatigue syndrome is a thing that can occur for some reason in some humans after viral infections. We don't know why yet. I think definitionally any syndrome is just a collection of symptoms that don't have an identified underlying cause. That's not always true though. Like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, is not a disease. It could be caused by a disease. Like you could find out, for instance, I think that somebody's like Crohn's disease. That's a real disease with like a definitive like pathology and everything. But irritable bowel syndrome is just a name for a collection of symptoms. I was going to say AIDS stands for acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, but AIDS is almost like 99.99% of the time, AIDS is just caused by HIV. So I don't know why that one's called a syndrome when generally we know the specific cause almost every single time. I think there's like one very weird off thing that can lead to AIDS. I don't know. What's non-HIV AIDS? What? There was like one weird, really small thing. What can cause AIDS that's not HIV? I thought there was like one weird small thing that's like very. Oh, the AI says nothing. The short technical answer is no, because AIDS is defined as acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, so it must be acquired. People acquired through HIV infection. The symptoms of AIDS, however, can be shared by other conditions that affect T cell counts. Long-range AIDS is considered to be a cause of CD4 lymphocytopenia, which is low CD4 plus T cell count. CD4 plus T cells are also known as T helper cells. There are other causes of CD4 lymphocytopenia, though by far the most common is HIV. HIV causes AIDS due to the virus specifically attacking the T helper cells. Other causes of CD4 lymphocytopenia. Is that how you say this? Hold on. Yudkowsky says he has CFS with no specific cause. I doubt he's fronting, and in as much as he has a recognizable constellation of beliefs, he's sort of the one who invented the constellation. Invented what constellation?
Elevation of neutrophils, profound lymphocytopenia.
Lymphocytopenia. Okay. Other causes of CD4 lymphocytopenia include cancer treatments and radiation that damages stem cell precursors of T cells, and there have been several cases of very low T helper cell counts in patients that do not have HIV and have not experienced radiation or chemotherapy. Those cases are extremely rare, however. Okay, so generally speaking, it's always coming from AIDS, except in exceptional cases. Okay. Is there more evidence for long COVID than there is for chronic Lyme disease? Probably, but I think long COVID now has been subsumed by, what does ME stand for? It's ME/CFS. It's something encephalitis, something whatever, or chronic fatigue syndrome, myalgic encephalomyelitis. I can't pronounce that. Hold on.
I was diagnosed with myalgic encephalomyelitis.
The problem with this, because the symptoms are so vague, is you'll have some people who will just go through their whole life and say they have CFS, but then there are other people like the science girl, I think, who will have this and they'll be in bed for like 18 hours a day. They're like fucked. They're actually fucked. Yeah, shit like this is crazy. Joe Biden passed the largest infrastructure bill since Eisenhower, and red states got the majority of the funding. Trump opposed it. Now Trump is changing all the signs to claim credit. Project funded by President Joe Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law. President Donald J. Trump rebuilding America's infrastructure. Funded by the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act.